I fucking love him. I can't get enough of him.
Let's hear that Boston X.
Big jab there from Duffy, and Frank Mir is hurt now. Down goes Duffy, oh, Frank Mir does it again! Rock'em sock'em robots here, oh my goodness!
Hyperbole. There are a couple of absolutely self-involved bullshit artists.
Here are your hosts, Jon Anik and Kenny Florian.
That's some bang!
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. What is up, everybody? It is Monday, July 20th, 2026, episode 604 of the Anik Florian Podcast. Voice might be familiar, face might be familiar, but I am not Jon Anik. I am his identical twin brother, Jason Anik. You know, Flo, he's finally given me a chance to host this thing after like 600 episodes. He's in Hawaii. I hope I pronounced that right. I guess Max Holloway's having a golf tournament. Inaugural charity golf tournament. So John's chasing all these charity golf tournaments. But Flo, great to be with you. What an honor. What a privilege to be with you, brother. How was the weekend, kid?
It is great to see you, my man. Man, John just gets to go to Hawaii and play golf. What the heck's going on? Now, he deserves a break. Dude, you know, got a chance to watch some good fights and World Cup going on. A lot going on, dude.
Yeah, you know, and I'm curious what your rooting interest is. You bring up the World Cup, so I'll just start there. But are you a fan of Argentina? Is that the team you root for? I know you're a Peruvian.
Yes. Well, I should say I'm a fan of Messi, not necessarily Argentina. I just like seeing good soccer. And the story was just amazing to see Messi at 39 years old do what he did to get to the final. Of course, he came up short, but the better team did indeed win, and that was Spain for sure. Would have been nice to see more goals, but I thought it was a fantastic World Cup. Argentina played great with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, but in the end, Spain was just too much, dude.
Oh, I mean, 0 shots on goal, if I'm not mistaken, 0 shots.
Yeah.
Argentina. So, but they almost made it to the PKs, and apparently they would have had an advantage there. But I will say, for this American sports nation in which we live, it felt like having this World Cup on our soil moved the needle a little bit. Like I've always been into the World Cup, and obviously Kenny played college soccer at Boston College, so obviously I know you're a player. But it felt like the U.S. a little juice for this sport, you know?
I think so, and you know, in a lot of ways, I think we got exposed in that, listen, we had a lot of great players. I think a lot of people, it would have been nice for a lot of people to see them go a lot further in the tournament. But I think in a lot of ways, it was a positive in that, hey, we got people excited about the sport. Now, what are we going to move? How are we going to move forward as a country, as a sport to kind of get better results? And I think it comes down to the youth system and really developing with a lot more intention and really deliberating like how we're going to get better as a nation, as a professional league. And I think for that reason, I think we'll move forward in a positive way.
Yeah, hopefully in 2030, we can make a little noise once we get to that next stage. But I know you all are here for the fight stuff. We are powered by All the Smoke Fight. So let's get into headlines. A lot of combat sports stuff to talk about from the weekend pass. So obviously, Du Plessis Usman was the main event. We'll get to that fight night, but you know where I got to start, Flo. For those of you that don't know, Belal Muhammad, a close friend of mine. I want to talk a little bit about this Real American freestyle wrestling, right? So Belal and I hosted a show on this channel. Remember the show? Cody Merrow was at the helm. We hosted about 150 episodes on this channel. Belal's a very close friend of mine. And when we started hosting this show, he was an unranked welterweight fighter and became champion of the world. Obviously, it's been a tough stretch for Belal. So he gets this opportunity at RAF. So you had Muhammad versus Askren, Ben Askren off the double lung transplant, which just blows my mind that he was even in a competitive setting. And then the main event, you had Covington versus Tsarukyan. So it was a fascinating event for me. Did you catch any of that? Belal Muhammad did get his hand raised.
Yeah, I saw some of the highlights. Yes.
So, you know, I guess Askren was up 3-0 at the end of the second period. And Belal, I guess, came back, had a big win, 6-3. Seeing him get his hand raised just warmed my heart, given what he had been through. And obviously, he has wanted to fight Colby Covington for a long time. So Covington in the main event gets through Tsarukyan. I guess he wins the crossover cruiserweight belt or whatever it is, sort of setting this up for Belal and Colby to face off. And so the post-fight press conference, I think Cody has a little footage, but Belal landed a front kick to the chest on Covington. But apparently these two are going to compete. So let's take a look at this. So I guess they're talking mess, and Belal gets a little fired up here. Covington had some really choice words about the new father, Muhammad, earlier in the week.
yeah, I want the challenge to go.
Significant strike. So much ado about nothing here, but obviously sets up a little juice. I guess they're going to compete in the co-main event on August 22nd. I think Sean Brady's headlining, but Real American Freestyle sort of moving the needle a little bit. I'd be lying to you if I told you I had that Fox Nation app, but some juice for this promotion.
I agree. Listen, I think that they've done a great job in making the right matches at the right time. Getting people excited about wrestling again, I think, is awesome. Getting a lot of high-level former wrestlers and, of course, current and former fighters involved, I think, is a smart choice. Obviously, it's been a great funnel for mixed martial arts to get a lot of these former high-level wrestlers involved in mixed martial arts. And, I think they've done an awesome job. I don't know how they have a lot of current fighters on there competing. I think Dana used to be so worried about people getting injured all the time, but it's working. It's getting people excited. It seems like they always have a good crowd. They've been consistent. I've been seeing it everywhere. So promotionally, I think they're doing a fantastic job.
They are. What I'll say, though, it's like Sean Brady competing August 22nd, headline against Jordan Burroughs at Real American Freestyle. Week before, they're in his hometown. The UFC's in Philadelphia. I understand he might not have been ready to make that turn, but it's like, I'm not getting Pfeiffer in Philadelphia. I'm not getting Brady. So I don't know. I have a little itch to scratch there. But let's move on to the UFC Fight Night from OKC last Saturday night. Dricus Du Plessis gets the 5-round unanimous decision win over Kamaru Usman. Dominant performance from the former middleweight champion Du Plessis, defeating, in my opinion, really one of the best UFC fighters of all time in Kamaru Usman.
I thought this was one of the more brilliant performances from Dricus Du Plessis that I've seen. He looked faster to me. And I think it came down to a few things. First of all, his ability to really judge the distance and master that distance. It just took away a lot of Kamaru Usman's wrestling opportunities. So it seemed like Kamaru was never really in the right spot to hit a great takedown. And then when he did, Dricus did a great job of getting right back to his feet. I thought his striking looked phenomenal. He hurt Kamaru Usman repeatedly throughout that fight. Props to Usman for his heart and his chin at 185 pounds for getting it done. But his size, I think, was a factor as well. It just seemed like Kamaru just couldn't hurt him bad enough. And it seemed like DDP also broke his hand at some point during that fight. But I thought he looked fantastic.
And credit to Usman, obviously getting through. That was the first time he had ever lost by unanimous decision, which fascinated me. A couple majority decisions. But just for Kamaru Usman, for those that don't know, he hasn't been the most active fighter over the last 3 years, but won the welterweight title, defended it 5 times. Like, you see a lot of these champions have a very difficult time going on championship reigns, if you will. So just in defeat, I couldn't have more respect for Usman. I would like to see him back at welterweight, though. I do think there's some opportunities there. And when he moves up to middleweight, I feel like the size was really, to your point, the big detriment that night,
Yeah. And a lot of people, when you've been in this sport for as long as Kamaru has, and he's won everything there is to win, there's always the question mark. Like, does he have the passion? Does he still enjoy to get up for fights and train and have that willingness to win during a fight? And I think he put all of that to rest with that 5th round performance, where he was largely dominated for 4 rounds, but he came back to win that 5th round. Like, he was trying to win that fight. And like you said, I think size was definitely a factor, but to see someone in that spot at his age with everything he's done to really look for a way to win, I thought was fantastic. And I think you're right. I think he would be much more of a threat at 170 pounds, certainly an elite fighter at 185 pounds, but not quite enough at that elite level at 185. But at 170, I think he can certainly do damage and perhaps even be maybe the only guy who can threaten Islam Makhachev with his wrestling, right? And maybe thwart his takedown attempt. So I think that would be interesting moving forward. Yeah.
Well, he'll certainly have eyes on that championship couple weeks from now. And Du Plessis, talked a lot about his discipline and his patience. And you talked about how impressed you were with the performance. Really liked seeing him not necessarily, he sometimes can be kind of an awkward fighter, not necessarily prioritize the finish, put a complete 25 minutes together. And that middleweight division is just fascinating. I mean, who's next for Strickland? I think there are a lot of different options you could go there. Imavov, who would you go with of those three? Imavov, would you go with Du Plessis, or you think Khamzat deserves that rematch right now?
Gosh, I think the Khamzat fight is probably the one to do, unfortunately, for DDP, just because of the fact that he's such a big star. And I think for Strickland, it probably serves him well from a financial standpoint to go for that rematch. But there's a lot of options. I feel bad for Imavov, who is kind of on the back burner right now, who certainly deserves it, but he doesn't have the star power of either DDP or, of course, Khamzat Chimaev. So I don't know. Maybe it's a DDP Imavov fight that you can build, but you also don't want to take away from one of the contenders in the future. So I don't know how the UFC is going to approach that one, but I wouldn't mind seeing DDP and Imavov go at it. I think that would be an awesome fight. But I think with Khamzat being such a big star, those guys are going to have to kind of wait and see what happens. So yeah, and maybe some of it has to do with Strickland making his choice.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think Imavov has made himself completely undeniable in the way I think that Ian Gary did, with his opportunity at welterweight.
Yeah.
Another fighter I just want to touch on quickly, Tommy fucking McMillan. Excuse my language,
gosh.
But this guy, right? So he now 11-0 as a pro. He calls himself the third Diaz brother. But so for those that didn't catch it, he landed 252 significant strikes against Alberto Montes at UFC OKC, right? And the previous record in a 3-round fight for significant strikes was 238, set by Nate Diaz all the way back in 2011 against Donald Cerrone. This kid is unbelievable. I saw him interviewing with Brian Campbell post-fight, and I just thought this quote was fascinating. He's talking about in third grade. Okay, my daughter just finished third grade. In third grade, he went to bed mad because he was too young for the UFC. And so for a 9-year-old, right? Like to be mad in third grade, it just feels like his destiny. And I think we got a star coming at 45.
My gosh. I mean, again, a lot of fighters are just born. And McMillan is certainly one of those. And I posted a picture on my stories on my Instagram, and it was McMillan getting kneed in the jaw, and his chin just looks deformed. It looks like it's Silly Putty just kind of getting deformed by the knee. Both eyes open, still focused on the target, looking to punch. To see that, the guy was so focused and so determined to get that win. Nothing was going to stop him, even if he was getting dropped here and there during that fight. But, talk about willingness to win and volume and heart. That dude has it all. And to make your UFC debut in that fashion, I'm not sure it gets any better than that. But what a fight. What a fighter. Can't wait to see his next one.
Yeah, exactly. So couple other things of note just to touch on. We got RJ Clifford coming up, but Chase Hooper, right, who's become a friend of mine, right? So gets the rear naked choke round 1 over Mitch Ramirez. He had lost back-to-back first round TKOs. I know he missed weight by 1.5 pounds, but happy for Chase, I think, is a big spot for him. And for someone who's sort of on their path, growing, sort of trying to build toward a championship, it can come quick with those quick 2 losses. So I'm happy for Chase. I assume you saw that, enjoyed that rear naked choke from one of the best to ever do it, Florian.
I did, and that's how you get it done. It's also nice to see him go out there and not have to take so much damage, get the takedown, bring it into his world. He got the back, getting a clean win like that and still being a young and capable fighter is nice. It was great to see Hooper get the win in that fashion.
I love it. All right, we're going to get some help. A lot more to get to from the weekend. Can't find a much better man to help us break it down. Let's get to Rated RJ.
Viewer discretion advised.
This is Rated R with RJ Clifford.
No way!
The fighting, that's the fun part.
It's like Hansel from Zoolander, just so fucking hot right now, dude. Well, think about it.
I don't know who he is. I just know he's a wrestler. I, Googled him.
Only on the Anik and Florian podcast.
Welcome, RJ. You know, I knew you weren't going to stand me up on my day hosting this motherfucker. Appreciate you being on time, man.
Oh, I'm here for the mutiny. You taking over, Jason? I love this. Is John in a car, like in the trunk of a car somewhere, holding him tied up?
Yeah, right. So I should be with him in Hawaii, but apparently, you know, he just doesn't like funding all of these trips for two people, which I understand. So RJ, I don't know if you caught what we were talking about, but before we get to some of the fights from last week, what was your weekend like? Were you working or were you off?
I was working. I was in Oklahoma City, catching all the action, though. What a sports weekend, right? I mean, it was kind of like the theme of the weekend was legends kind of seeing where the finish line is a little bit, right? You had Ben Askren finally able to kind of retire the way he wanted to. You had Kamaru Usman, I think, looking 39 for the first time, like kind of like looking like, you know, knocking on the door of 40. And then Lionel Messi, you know, getting to the finals and then, you know, probably saying goodbye, Kenny. And I want to say publicly, thank you, Lionel Messi, because my 6-year-old asked me, she's like, why is his name Messi? I said, well, when he was a kid, he never cleaned up his room. And the nickname stuck with him the rest of his life. So when I say clean your room,
don't be that guy.
Right. It's going to stick with you. So we got to pass that lesson down to my daughter.
So when you're working a fight night like that and Real American Freestyle's happening, do you chase highlights? I know you're a wrestler at heart. I mean, do you go watch those matches, the co-main and main event, or you just chase highlights?
I used to try to avoid the spoilers, but it's just impossible. It's just all over. Like REF does a good job of keeping it out there. So I got to see Askren's kind of like retirement speech and leaving the shoes on the mat before I saw the actual match. But that was the highlight, just seeing just the fact that after a double lung transplant, he still got to wrestle and be competitive and getting to be able to go out on his own terms. Kind of reminded me of like Daniel Cormier, right? When he, you know, he technically made weight in that second Olympics, but wasn't able to compete because of a bad weight cut. The UFC did kind of a little match for him at one of the international fight weeks, and he got to leave his shoes on the mat. That's a big deal for someone who leaves, you know, everything they had to a sport. So it was a tearful weekend in sports in a lot of ways.
So I know you get to know a lot of these fighters, and my brother tells me Dricus Du Plessis is really one of the absolute best men he has gotten to know in this sport. Really happy to see him sort of complete those 25 minutes and put himself right back in the mix at 85. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's like a 1990s movie jock, but with the heart of gold. You know, he's kind of like, you get a little like meatheadish vibes from him, but he's just so genuine and he has so much respect for everybody he fights. Like Usman, like I feel part of veteran savvy is being able to tell which referees you can dupe a little bit. And so he was able to get a couple, like, I didn't think that punch was an eye poke. It was a clean punch, but he was able to get some time by like, hey, Kerry Hatley, what are you doing? I just got cheated, blah, blah, blah. And he pulled it off, right? And none of that mattered. None of that mattered to Dricus. He was just like, dude, this guy's a stud. This guy's awesome. And I didn't mean to keep piling on Usman because he fought so hard. Like, there's one thing to survive, and there's another thing to survive and stay dangerous. Like, there's at no point when Usman was clearly behind on the scorecards, he's just like, all right, I'm just going to kind of pack it in a little bit. There wasn't going to be any of those, like, that's not the cloth from what he has cut lines, because he was dangerous till the very end. But Dricus just, I think he shored up some of his wrestling holes that we saw when he fought Chimaev. And the one time I don't think UFC even technically counted it as a takedown when Usman got him down because he popped up so quick. And of course he just got to be Dricus on his feet, and with some wrestling holes shored up, he might be the most dangerous Dricus we've seen yet.
So, Kenny, I'll let you get in here, but I just want to bring RJ back to the conversation we were having. So Strickland's sitting in the wings, and I really feel like there could be 3 dudes. So, RJ, I'm curious sort of who you think we're going to see and who you want to see next, but for Strickland between Du Plessis, Chimaev, and who am I forgetting?
Imavov.
Yeah. I mean, everybody forgetting that guy. Jesus.
Exactly, right? I think that kind of sums it all up perfectly, right there, Jason, a little bit. Like, Imavov's like done the dirty work, but I think Chimaev is the best promotionally. I think it's the best stylistically. I think he's the second best, or, you know, the best, either him or Strickland at 185 pounds. That first fight was close and controversial enough where I think everyone wants to scratch that itch a little bit. It just feeds everything. I know Dricus, you know, again, just the consummate athlete, you know, performer, like jock. He's just like, I'll knock them all down. Like, he wasn't demanding a title shot. He's like, I want to beat everybody. And so I think him versus Imavov makes a lot of sense. I think that's a great main event somewhere in, you know, Europe or something like that. And you have a true, like, you cannot deny me #1 contender fight right there. I don't know if Imavov is down for that, but I think if you do Chimaev Strickland 2 and Imavov DDP, maybe on the same card too, that'd be fun as well. You got 195 all kind of wrapped up for the next 18 months.
Yeah,
I
Kenny,
mean, it's never been tougher.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's never been tougher. You have Pyfer, you have Brendan Allen in there. Do you think they're going to kind of risk having two contenders or two good fights in the future, kind of have one of them canceled out by doing Imavov and DDP? I know DDP, I believe he broke his hand in that fight against Kamaru Usman, so I don't know if he's going to be out for a little while. What do you think is going to happen with those guys?
Yeah, I think there's enough, like you mentioned, there's guys coming up. And then if, like, let's say Chimaev wins, like a really good close fight, I don't think the UFC's against an immediate trilogy, right? If there's no one really just like demanding to be next. You mentioned a couple of guys coming up. I think it's almost like how the UFC kept trying to like get Belal to lose. He's like, you have to beat everybody for become a title. Same thing with Marab. I think it's kind of more in that situation. They're like, oh no, we don't want to knock off these contenders. It's like, let's make these guys undeniable. There's, this guys, like there's certain fighters, they're like, they can't wait to get into a title shot because that's what fans want. And there's certain guys who's like, you're going to have to go the long way. And if you make yourself undeniable, you can always make yourself undeniable, Kenny. You can always make yourself undeniable.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So Conor McGregor, we've heard torn ACL, torn meniscus, and we can touch on the injury. We'll see about the recovery. But frankly, I want to talk to you guys just about this one quote from him because it really fascinated me. So he's talking about had he won and gone out afterwards. And I quote here from his ex, "I wonder, was I saved from something worse here? I believe so. I would have attended the after party as the man. And who knows then? I believe I was saved." And this is fascinating to me. RJ, you can start, but basically he was about going to get all buckled had he found a way to win that fight that night and sort of gone right back down the bad road, perhaps.
I think Dominic Cruz put it really, really well over the course of the weekend when he was working the desk. He's like, I firmly believe Conor McGregor came back to save himself from himself. When you're in fight camp, when you have some singular focus, when the goal is, a first ballot Hall of Famer Max Holloway, like it's kind of easier to say no to that bottle sitting on the shelf. I know when I fought, like I didn't drink at all. Like fighting was the healthiest thing that ever happened to my body, ironically, because what I do to it when I'm not fighting. So I think Conor can. I think there's a place there, right? And obviously Conor's been so vocal about his new devotion to his faith and how kind of where his mind goes with these things. And I think there's something to that. I don't think it's just Conor bravado. I think there was something there.
Kenny, you've heard guys like Alexander Volkanovski talk about how difficult it can be for him sometimes without a fight on the books. You just see Dustin Poirier sort of navigating his new life. I'm sure you've experienced some of these temptations, if you will, Flo, maybe not the addictive personality of others, but I'm sure you can relate to some of this stuff.
No question about it. It's a really difficult thing when you have someone who's, either a type A personality or someone who has to stay active physically or needs something that calms that, I don't know, inner spirit inside you. I remember I didn't know what day it was. I just knew it was like wrestling and jiu-jitsu day or sparring day. Like that was, it was so nice to kind of be institutionalized in a way. It's like being in prison where you're just like, I know what my schedule is. I know exactly what I need to do. I have goals in the future. I'm working towards this. And when that's taken away and you have all this free time and money, well, that's dangerous for a lot of these guys who are looking for that next high or looking for that next thrill. And unfortunately, guys, for you guys who are still fighting, there is no high better than winning in the UFC. You're going to be chasing it forever. So when you say goodbye to it, make sure you say goodbye to it and look for something else to kind of fill that role. Something that's healthy anyway. So yeah, it is so tough for a lot of these fighters, especially someone like Conor McGregor, who has more money than everybody, more access than everybody, more stardom than everybody. It's like all the traps, all of those things are there waiting for him. Yeah.
You think we see him again, RJ?
I do for a couple of reasons. First off, I remember after he lost to Dustin Poirier, people were like, he's never going to fight again. Nobody cares. I don't want to see him anymore. And he goes and breaks the gate record next time he's out.
Right.
The demand is still there. Don't let anyone tell you. Like I remember when Floyd Mayweather would hype up these big fights, and he would just like jab, dip, and turn his butt for 12 rounds, and everyone's like, I'm over it. I'm never watching Floyd fight again. 6 months later, he sells 1 million by pay-per-view. Like, the demand is there. Don't let anybody lie to you. It's still there.
Yeah.
Also, he has one fight left on his contract. I think he wants to either get that done, or the UFC obviously wants to keep him. So there'll be like a negotiation. I don't know how that works, but I know that Conor wants to get to that finish line for both personal and business reasons. And and third, I think he truly is, like, of everything that is around Conor, he is a martial artist competitor at his core. Like, he is, like, he walks that walk. And I think going out like that and kind of back-to-back fights, broken leg, I don't think he wants to go out that way. I think that's a major factor for him on top of the other two I mentioned.
Yeah, Jay, I think he definitely wants to compete again, and I think we will see him. I think the bigger question is what's going to happen when we do see him again? You know, coming back from another ACL injury, meniscus tear, all that stuff that's going on with his knee. It's not going to be the same when he was in his 20s coming back. It's going to be more difficult. And obviously his body has experienced a lot of wear and tear. And I think not only will we see him again, I think he wants to continue fighting for another few more fights. And how he performs in that next one can really be a good indicator of what we're going to see moving forward and what that does to his value as a fighter. Right. So I don't know. I think he's got quite the road ahead of him.
You know, it's interesting. I was on this radio show and someone asked me, you know, the next opponent for Conor, if he does come back. We can talk about Nate Diaz. We talk about trilogy with Max. And I said the ship had sailed on Michael Chandler. And the guy who was hosting the show, his name's Zach Elby, sort of questioned me on that and thought maybe now's the time that fight does make sense. And I thought about it a little bit and I said, well, you know what? I'd love Chandler to get that opportunity. And maybe finally it would make sense to make that match or make that fight, given all the random circumstances that could take place. We still could be a year and a half away from that.
I mean, it's Conor McGregor. Like, there's always matchups. Like, this is a guy that was like planting the seed to fight Donald Cerrone like 7 years before he fought him. Like, the matchups are there. And that's what I was thinking to myself, like before the fight went down the way it did. I was thinking of all the circumstances. Like, if he just like torched Max Holloway and just like Jose Aldo'd him in like 30 seconds, like, he's fighting for a title. Right? He's going to skip everybody. Like, he's fighting for the title. He's getting Makhachev or Gary. Like, that was happening. That's just because it's Conor. If you would have won like a close split decision, like a really, really good fight, and it was really close, I thought, okay, maybe trilogy or, you know, like a number one contender fight. But if he looked absolutely terrible, like if he looked dog shit, I was like, look, that Nate Diaz trilogy, like they could both be on 10 fight losing streaks. And that's still like the biggest fight of the year, just because of how the first two went. So it's like, no matter the results, no matter like how many legs he has functioning, no matter what weight, like, there are fights for Conor McGregor that'll get people excited. What's Conor? So
Tommy McMillan, where were you watching that fight? Were you watching right there, octagon side, or what?
I was octagon side. I was right there. McMillan's sweat flying onto me. And dude, I'm telling you, man, like, I am so high on Alberto Montes going into this fight. I think he's so slick. His left hook couldn't miss. That awesome anaconda. The photo you mentioned, Kenny, like, I broke that thing down like frame by frame. He slipped a jab, knowing Tommy was going to have heavy feet, a heavy left foot, inside kicked it to get him to square his stance, drop his head, and then his short ass was able to get his knee all the way up to McMillan's head, and then he slipped the counter. Like, this guy is so slick, and it was just a nice reminder, Kenny, that just like volume and cojones can beat a lot of really good martial arts, dude. Like,
yeah.
Tommy was just, he's younger, he's more durable, cardio for days. Kind of reminded me of like a Strikeforce Gilbert Melendez, kind of leaning forward, volume punches, even had the fro kind of bouncing a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, that is such an appealing style of fighting. To be a contender, I think he'll have to clean things up, but he's young enough. That's certainly a possibility, but just balls and grit and volume is just a fun way for a young fighter to make.
I don't give an F style of fighting.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So RJ, we got what? Abu Dhabi and Serbia. Are we going to either destination?
I have a family reunion this weekend, so I am not doing Abu, but I head to Serbia on Sunday, and then it's back on the road for everything else. I don't even know. I know the next fight I go to, and then I I process it and move on. Otherwise, I lose my mind.
Well, when you're in Serbia, if you don't mind, give some love to my guy, Milos Janicic. If you don't know that name, right? He fought in dirty boxing a couple times, finally getting an opportunity in the big show. I can't wait. I think he's the second prelim of the night. But if you meet him, say what's up for me, if you don't mind.
On it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, Randall. Got to call you Randall one time. I hope I did okay for you today. We'll talk to you next week, though, after your little family reunion. Appreciate the time, brother.
Yeah, make sure Anik John has his like oxygen in the back of that trunk, maybe some water every now and then. You got to keep the vitals just barely up. Barely up.
I will say, though, alcohol is a performance-enhancing drug in terms of golf for John and I, right? So he played in a member guest last weekend, had a couple cocktails, played a little better. So I hope, the time zone may be up, but I'm not saying you need to get drunk, but a couple cocktails, it sort of loosens you down a little bit.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Appreciate you, RJ.
Boys. Later.
See you, RJ.
That is Rated RJ with RJ Clifford. I tell you what, a lot of fucking traffic on the Anik Florian podcast trying to move all these guests along without hesitation. Let's get to what they call the star of the program, the Ray Longo Minute.
It's now time for the Ray Longo Minute.
I want you to punch a hole in his fucking chest. That's what I want.
The Ray Longo Minute. Starring Ray Longo. The Jon Anik and Kenny Florian Podcast.
Look at him. Look at the motherfucker. That's what I'm talking.
Oh shit!
Yes. What up, Ray?
Where is he?
Where
the fuck is he? I want to know.
He's in Hawaii, playing in a golf tournament. But if I had worn a hat, right? Is there a chance we could have messed with you a little bit here today had I worn a hat? Could we have gotten you, perhaps?
Possibly.
I thought about doing this. Right? And Cody says, I purposefully didn't tell Ray this was happening. So but I purposefully didn't wear a hat because I didn't want to fuck with the old guy. With respect. So Ray, I just got to start. Did you see this picture?
We're coming out of the gate rough.
Always rough, always hard. So I assume, Ray, you saw this picture. You were in the text chain of Kenny Florian and Chris Weidman.
Yeah, love it.
Ads at Dick's Sporting Goods. Cody,
love it.
Once again, please. If you got it there. Anyway, while he's loading this, though, like when Kenny sent this in the group as a group text and then later on Instagram, like, Kenny, I can't tell you how happy it made me to see that picture. Like, made my whole week. Kenny,
I agree.
Kenny, what was that like? You guys just walking there and there it is.
Dude, I'm going into Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm looking for a pair of cleats. He's actually in the cleat section buying a bunch of cleats for his kids. He's got like 8 kids now. He's got a few boys with him trying to buy some cleats. And I run into the freaking Hall of Famer Chris Weidman. He's been living next to me for the last 5 years. I never bumped into him. Finally, get a chance to see him in and around town. And Chris is doing great, man. What an awesome guy. And it was great to see him after he got inducted to the Hall of Fame. And we were talking about all you guys, and Chris is the man, dude. I saw a comment on Twitter that Kenny Florian's transition to look like Clay Guida is complete.
Wait, how close actually are you guys?
He's right over the border, so he's not too far. He's probably within 20 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good stuff. That was good.
So Kenny, Cody, was like putting in our chat, like Kenny looks like he's ready for war. John was like, yeah, geez, Kenny, chill. But you zoom in, he's just wearing a tank top with an over-the-shoulder bag. But all the gun activity and all the pistol training that we've seen Kenny do, we're just sort of assuming it's like a fucking bulletproof vest. So Ray, he mentioned the Hall of Fame with Weidman, and I don't know how much you guys touched on it, but I thought your speech was exceptional. And I loved seeing you in that moment. What was interesting to me, though, is like Demetrius Johnson couldn't get the F word out of his mouth in his speech, right? Not a single curse out of you, Raymond, on your speech. Is that accurate? You could have gotten away with it.
Yeah, I think I changed it to effing, but I had one.
You had one, okay.
Okay. But I said effing, not fucking.
You didn't.
No, I changed it.
Yeah,
I think I purposely changed it too.
So, are you sort of settled back off your jet lag now? Back in Long Island?
I'm going to say just about now because that Baku trip, back to back with the Vegas, did a number on me, man. I was getting vitamin injections, glutathione, you name it. I would just shoot me up with. It was just. Man, this was tougher. This was the toughest one so far.
Dude, it's no joke. When are you leaving? When's your next trip?
Nah, I got a kid fighting in the PFL next week. I'm very excited for Levon Kovalev, but after that, nothing. I don't think anyway.
So you watched Du Plessis Usman this weekend?
Yes, I did. And wait, first let me just touch on something. RJ hit the nail on the head, and Kenny, it is crazy what you were saying about McMillan. Like that just balls and just wanting to be in there can still carry you probably 80% of the way in this sport. I and I try to sometimes a guy loses a fight. I go, dude, the guy was tougher than you. That's all it came down to. He wants to be there. Like, it'd be defensively irresponsible, but he throws volume. And the kid wants, dude, it's crazy, and it makes for an exciting fight. But the other guy technically looked like he was trying to hit some beautiful counters, but he just got broken down, man. That's a really good fight to look at for a bunch of reasons. But I thought RJ knocked it out of the park with that. It's just still amazing how that guy could kind of get away with that, but he is tough as a motherfucker, man. Hats off to him. Everybody's going to want to watch that kid fight.
McMillan's one of those guys where he turns the fight into a horror movie where you shoot him, you stab him, you're doing all these things, and the killer keeps coming forward. You're like, what the hell do I need to do to get this guy out of there? And as skillful as Montes was, there was nothing he could do to get McMillan from not hunting him down, and that alone breaks him. And then, of course, breaking a record with, throwing as much volume as he did, that does a job too. But my gosh, it was unfreaking believable to see him go out there and fight like he did.
Yeah, he's the striking what Marab is the takedowns. They're not stopping.
Right.
Like this kid he was getting hit too. But you remember that old Chuck Norris movie where they couldn't kill the guy, Kenny, and they had to throw him in the well at the end? That's what we have. You want to get rid of McMillan. He's got to go in the well. So he can't get out. That's the only way. You can't kill him.
Exactly.
He just keeps coming back. He's going in the well, that guy, or you're going to have to put up with him for the rest of your life.
So, Ray, before you talk about Du Plessis, Jon had said he was going to make an appearance today and pop on at some point. And, of course, the moment he chooses to come on is now because you're on the screen. So we'll bring in my better half from Hawaii. There he is. Take it over, kid.
Stanley Tucci. Let's go.
I mean, look at this.
Wow. Guys in Hawaii, we're over here like dogs. Look at this.
Grinding. Right. No sweat equity in the show over the last 11 years for me. Right? First show I missed in 11 years. No, it's great to be with you guys.
The guilt trip on me.
So what do you got, a dog tag around your neck? Is it 6:30 in the morning out there?
This is my son's artwork. 6'7", right? 6'7". So, yeah, we'll set the scene for you guys a little bit. Great to have everybody with us always on the Anik Florian podcast. Hopefully Jason Anik is absolutely fucking murdering it
probably
today.
Like 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10.
He's killing it.
But wait, raise your hand if Ray's Chuck Norris Well movie was lost on you. I didn't.
He didn't ask me. He just asked Kenny. He knew not to ask me.
I'm gonna have to find. So I'm gonna find the name of that movie.
Yeah, please do. So we are here at the Four Seasons Resort Oahu at Ko'olina. And the golf course is right here. We're here for Max Holloway's inaugural golf tournament, the Max Holloway Foundation. So Justin Gaethje's here, DC's here, Cub Swanson is here. And so we're here for a couple days. And just wanted to say hello and see how everything was going. Tremendous UFC main event, I thought, on Saturday night,
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, Ray was about to touch on that. What'd you think of DDP?
Man, look, he put a beat down on a couple. Let me say a couple of things about the fight. 100% put a beat down on Kamaru Usman, but I'll tell you, for a 39-year-old kid moving up, heavier weight class, man, he is a tough motherfucker, man. Like I got to tell you, man, resilience and he 100% lost the fight. That's a little confusing at the end because he almost made you believe he thought he won the fight. But I mean, he did get rocked probably 5 or 6 good times where his legs buckled. How he stays in that fight is a testament to his willpower and fortitude. But so DDP, great fight. I mean, I thought it was a really good fight. Great fight to come back against a guy that could have given him some trouble with the wrestling. So that was a big mental boost for him, I think. And also, even in losing, I still got to give it up to Usman. Just being an older athlete and putting in that type of effort, I'm saying is not easy, especially even at that weight class. Not easy at all.
Yeah. I feel like Dricus Du Plessis, with a year off, ubiquitously regarded as one of the hardest workers in the room. I just think he was going to be a hard man to beat on that night for almost anyone. I agree with everything you guys have said about Kamaru Usman all morning. It was a little bit of a weird visual, and I know Kenny can speak to this, having been in the octagon with fighters after fights. You call a fight, as DC did, and Daniel essentially calls it 50-45 for Du Plessis. And then you go into the octagon, and your good friend Kamaru Usman turns around to you like, what? 49-46? You know, and I didn't think the fight was particularly close. I just think Du Plessis is an absolute animal. And I think there's a good chance that he regains the belt at some point in time.
Wait, let me just say one other thing. The other thing is his corner did tell him you need a knockout. I do believe that at the end. So that tells you where they thought the fight was. So I think the hits in the head maybe disoriented him a little bit. And he did finish with a 20-second flurry, which, he probably juxtaposed into the whole fight in his head. But it's still a phenomenal performance. I would never want to say one bad thing about it because 39 years old is no joke. His knees have been banged up, and I thought he did. He showed why he was a champion for so long.
Yeah, DDP fought to prove something that night, no question about it. And the fact that he went against a guy who could have been a huge threat with his wrestling coming off of that Khamzat Chimaev fight, I think just showed how tough DDP is, how focused he is. He looked phenomenal on all fronts. And again, to get it done with a broken hand, to continue in that manner and find a way, all of his weapons were firing, man. He looked awesome.
John, does Usman take that fight because he thinks perhaps there's a shot at middleweight gold where maybe welterweight seems less attainable?
No, 100%. I think he was unceremoniously denied the Islam Makhachev fight by the promotion. And when you look at Michael Morales and Carlos Prates and Ian Machado Gary, and there's probably one more name that is maybe more deserving than Usman. He took a full year off, bided his time, was hoping that the Makhachev fight would materialize. It didn't. So, he thought if he could win this one, given his history with Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland, potentially he would, cut the line here. But, obviously that's not going to happen. And I just want to say, Kenny mentioned the word focus with Du Plessis, and that's it, right? I mean, the guy has a championship focus as if he's never won the belt. He has a hunger and a focus, and both of these athletes were just so omnipresent, right? And Conor McGregor came out recently, and I don't know if he saw my comments or somebody else's, but suggested that when he hit the tunnel, Kenny and Ray and Jay, he didn't have that look of lunacy in his eyes, right? And when you see Kamaru and Dricus walk out, but especially Kamaru at his age, right? Like just so present and ready to go and in the moment. And, I just wasn't seeing that from Conor at all.
Yeah, Usman, I just can't say enough about this guy. And I feel, with COVID-19, that's when you got a lot of these younger fans in 2019, 2020, 2021. And that was sort of the end of his, but this guy's prime is so elite. I talked about it earlier, John. You see so many guys unable to defend their belts. This guy did it 5 times. It's the first time he ever lost to unanimous decision. I'm just blown away by Usman in defeat. And even stepping in there with that dog, I'm just blown away.
Yeah, I agree.
So go ahead, Ray.
No, I agree with Jason 100%.
So I was at the bar here last night, and on A&E, the Matt Serra George St. Pierre special comes on the TV, and this thing's on every time I turn on the goddamn TV, right? But Raymond Pete, in all his youthful glory, right, just stealing the show with his relative handsomeness in the background, in the octagon, in interviews. It was incredible to see. You've aged very gracefully.
Thank you very much. I thought I didn't think I did a good job on that.
No, you weren't good in the documentary. You looked
I look good. All right.
He said relative handsomeness.
They dragged me out of bed for that in Vegas when I was doing that.
So we're not doing any would you rathers today, Ray. Not a single one.
Oh, thank God.
So John, what time are you teeing off? What's going on?
So it is 6:45 a.m. right now. We're going to be downstairs at like 9 o'clock, and I think it's a shotgun start at 10. It's a scramble, and there's a putting contest, I think, beforehand. But, yeah, just excited to see Max in a non-fight week setting, right? Kenny's heard me for years talk about what Holloway did against Calvin Kattar singularly is the greatest individual performance I've ever seen, and I haven't really had a few minutes ever to talk to Max about something like that, or, to talk to him about his son. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Hawaii. And one thing I want to say real quick, and you can let me go at any time. So I was doing an Ask Me Anything last week, and they asked me who my favorite fighter was. And ultimately I said Kenny Florian. So,
no, come on.
Well,
no,
so
he did.
when I think about my emotional investment and how much I care about a result, right? I'm not sure I ever cared more about a result than when Kenny was fighting BJ Penn or Jose Aldo or Clay Guida or Joe Stevenson. I'm just saying. So yeah, Ken's my favorite fighter. I'm the president of the Team Florian fan club. Team Florian for life. Honorable mention to them.
Look at this guy. I love this guy. Well, Johnny, have you scouted out the competition? Are you one of the favorites? That's what I want to know. I know Gaethje's got to be up there, but what are our chances here, bud?
So 3 days ago, I had no confidence at all, and I had the chance to play in my agent Gideon Cohen's member guest clam bake in New York. And normally I don't drink tequila before the round, but Gideon was tipping them back. So I had a couple of reposados before I even went out on the golf course. And I played one of the best rounds of my life. I didn't lose a golf ball for the first 12 holes.
Dude.
So the plan today is to hit tequila early, often.
Yes.
And hopefully it produces the desired result. But yeah, we're confident. We're confident.
Let's go.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to get Jon and Ray both the fuck out of here at the same time and continue with Kenny. But because, Jon, when I read this Throne Coffee promo, I'm not going to have your ass judging me reading this. You could be.
Well, actually, if you read the rundown, you're supposed to middle the Longo Minute with the.
Right. But I didn't expect you to come on. I didn't expect you to come on. You know what? We're just going to do it now, and I'm going to make you stay. As usual, Ray Longo Minute is brought to you every week by Throne Sport Coffee. Throne Sport Coffee, the official beverage of the Anik Florian Podcast.
Yes,
Throne
it
Sport
is.
Coffee is functional, better for you coffee made for active on-the-go lifestyles. Each can, 150 milligrams of natural caffeine, natural sweeteners, and 100% of your daily B vitamins. Lattes pack 10 grams of protein. And the cold brews for Raymond Longo are low sugar and dairy-free. Multiple dairy-free options for all of you. Ray, you need more, by the way? You need a shipment, don't you?
1,000,000%. Just send those cold brews over.
All right, well, we'll send them to you, but for those others...
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. The Peanut Gallery has made a request. Please, will you send those over?
We got you. But for those that don't get the shipments like Longo, you can find Throne Sport Coffee in retailers wide, including Casey's, Quick Trip, and Whole Foods, or online at Amazon, Walmart, or just go directly to their website, sportcoffee.com. Throne Sport Coffee, get going, keep going. And look, he's showing us a little.
Wait, I
look
thought
at that, Johnny.
I thought he jumped off the ledge there.
No.
Jon, hey, real quick, Jon, have you talked to Gaethje since the White House?
Just via text. I haven't seen him in person.
See, that's going to be. You talk about some of the moments where you've seen fighters after they've realized championships. The Leon Edwards hug rings a bell.
Yeah.
But you got to be excited to see JG.
Yeah, I'm going to tell him I came this close to violating my contract to bet on him. We were talking at the bar last night, and I don't think Justin Gaethje is going to fight again. I think there's a little bit of maternal pressure coming in, and
interesting.
Beautiful.
So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think financial freedom has been accrued, but yeah, I'm excited to see Justin today.
That's awesome.
We're going to grip it. We're going to rip it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the show.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Love you guys.
Johnny.
Kill it, Jon. You're the man.
We're pulling for you.
I feel like
don't embarrass us.
I'll see what I can do. I have an Anik Florian Podcast golf shirt that I'm about to put on.
Beautiful.
Let's go.
I feel like I'm on an island where I truly do not want to see Justin Gaethje compete again, where everybody else is like, "Oh, I'm an MMA fan. I just have to have it." I would love to see him walk away.
I'm with you, dude.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I think that it doesn't get any bigger or better than that. Just everything around that fight was just magical for the guy, and it would be so nice to see him go out on top. If there's one guy who deserves it, that's the dude. After all the wars and all the things that he's done for the sport, dude. For me, it would just be Cinderella ending, right?
And the visual from UFC 300, I believe it was 300, where he's flatlined by Max, if that was his 300. But, but the visual from that to now be somewhat of a distant memory, given what he did at the White House. To actually, you know what I mean? For that to just sort of be removed, right? But let's not. And look, I think he could be very competitive. Topuria was the one I really feared for him. But you know what's the ultimate goal? You know, and I think it's undisputed, and he achieved it. So anyway, Raymond, appreciate you being with us. Anything else before you get out of here, Mr. Longo?
That was it. Any other fights to talk about? What'd you talk about?
You know, I mean, the co-main event we didn't touch on. CLD took care of Cannonier.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing. The Fatima Kline fight I thought was unbelievable. I thought that kid's a future champion for sure. I mean, or at least she's fighting for the title very soon, I would think. I don't know. Kate,
she looked great. I mean, she looked great, dude. It reminded me of WWE where she's like, you know, suplexing, reaching, and kind of looking to the crowd like she was that comfortable and that in her element to go out there and be that present, right? She was just having a good time and just killing it on all fronts. And yeah, she was dialed in. I thought that was a very good fight for her to kind of get the fans to know how good she is.
Oh, yeah. Against a talented girl that just made it look easy. You know, that was the crazy part.
Well, you know, and it's the swings, you know, she's I know these UFC meta rankings, you know, leave some things to be desired, but I've seen a number 14 by Kline's name, Tabitha Ricci, number 7. I mean, Kline just blows me away. You know, she lost her debut to Jasmine Jasdavicius, and now she's won 4 straight. And I think sometimes being in there with a dog like Jasdavicius and having a loss, I think she learned a lot from it and just a lot of fun to watch.
But again, a short notice fight, and she fought up 10 pounds. You got to put that in there. That wasn't even her weight category.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
She was competitive against a dog at another weight class this early on. Pretty fucking good even in that fight. So I wouldn't. You knew what was going to come after that. You know.
Well, good stuff, Raymond. I hope I did okay today. I didn't put you on the spot like John, but always a pleasure. You know how much love I have for you. Appreciate you.
Same thing. We're back at you. Guys, take it easy, man. I will see you next week.
All right.
See you, Ray.
Take it easy, Kenny.
Flo, I wasn't going to go with the Raymond Pete stuff. I just wasn't going to do it. So I know we talked a little bit about the World Cup. I know you're not hugely a gambler, if you will, but you know, I bet on France before the tournament started. And John had a lot of bets tied to France, and I'm hoping he hedged appropriately on Spain, but Spain's won like 37 in a row internationally. It's just unbelievable. You think about their plus 550 to begin that tournament. I feel like maybe I should have looked there, but anyway, we're going to get to DraftKings here this summer. Whatever you're watching, baseball, golf, soccer, racing, DraftKings has you covered for every single moment of it. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states, including Florida, where I reside, bringing the game straight to your fingertips wherever you are. So new DraftKings customers, sign up with the code AFPOD, spend $5 and get $150 in rewards within 14 days. This includes all markets. That's code AFPOD. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Connecticut, 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Bet tax pass-through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus, void in Canada. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risks of loss. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Bet to get bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Trade to get predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. $50 in rewards issued every 7 days via click to claim for 14 days. One non-withdrawable reward redeemable. Terms at dkng.co/offer. Limited time offer. So Flo, you know, last year, I believe you were in the black in terms of your place, your bets, right? And, you know, still in the black right now. So I want to talk about the co-main main event as we get into the main event challenge here. And then we are going to make you wager again. We'll talk about your wagers last week. So 2 fights, UFC Fight Night this weekend, Ankalaev versus Guskov, live from the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Main event gets underway 12 o'clock Eastern time. What's that going to be like for you? Are you too busy with kids, or do you prefer that afternoon start?
I kind of like that afternoon start. It depends on what we got going on. It's a jiu-jitsu day for the kids, so I'm going to have to manage that appropriately. But, yeah.
I love it. How old's Archer? How old's your son, Archer now?
Archer is 5 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man. And training jiu-jitsu as he should.
He is. He started at 3. He started younger than everybody. Yes.
I tell you what. All these kids, even if they don't grow up to be fighters, should be doing jiu-jitsu. It's a big mistake that my girls aren't doing jiu-jitsu. But anyway, all right, we're going to begin with the co-main event in the flyweight division. Close fight on paper here, Flo. Steve Erceg -115 takes on Ramazan Tamirov, come back at -105. So Erceg has won 2 straight after a tough 3-fight losing streak against the elites of the division that included a championship opportunity back in 2024 against Alexandre Pantoja. Did take him 5 rounds. Last time out, I thought he looked outstanding in a 3-round unanimous decision win against a game Tim Elliott. That was in Perth back on May 2nd. So pretty quick turn here against Tamirov. Tamirov 19-2 as a pro, 2-0 in the UFC. Hasn't made the octagon walk since March of 2025. That date, he beat Charles Johnson by unanimous decision. Tough test here against Astro Boy for the man from Uzbekistan. Your thoughts on the co-main event?
Such a great fight. Yeah, I agree. In that fight against Tim Elliott, Erceg had to use all of his skills to get it done. Was able to battle back into some, tough spots when he was getting taken down into side control and things like that. And Tim Elliott is such an awkward style. But yeah, he looked great. He looked focused. I thought his striking looked a lot cleaner, but he's going to have to be on point defensively here against Tamirov or Tamirov. I don't know how we're pronouncing it, but this guy from Uzbekistan is a big time problem. He's got some serious power, built like an absolute beast. His spinning back kick is, has been curated from hell. You got to watch out for his speed, his power. This guy just keeps on throwing. I think he needs to manage his efficiency here against Erceg, who's obviously, such a veteran of the game and really, so comfortable now competing out there. But I like Tamirov here in this spot. I think that, his overhands, his shots to the body, him being short and stocky, and coming from that area, which is traditionally a wrestling powerhouse, he's going to be tough to be taken down. I think that's where Erceg can win, is with a submission game. I think he'll have the better submission game. I just don't think it's going to go to the ground. I like Tamirov here in this spot.
I like it. We'll see if you put any of your American dollars on the slight dog in the co-main event. Another man from Uzbekistan competing in the main event wasn't originally scheduled. So former undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion Magomed Ankalaev, a now -535 favorite against the replacement Bogdan Guskov, coming back at 4-1 plus 400. He accepted this fight on 14 days notice after Khalil Rountree Jr. suffered an injury in training. So Guskov was supposed to rematch Jan Blachowicz a week later in Serbia. Couldn't resist this massive opportunity. He had won 4 straight before that majority draw against Blachowicz back in December. Big step up here, though, against the heavily favored former champ Ankalaev, who's looking to sort of forget about that last fight with Pereira at the end of last year.
Well, Guskov can get him to remember that last fight against Pereira if he goes out there like he normally does, which is, looking for that knockout straight away, hunting him down, backing up his opponents. And I think Ankalaev, with all of his experience, is going to need that. He is a big favorite for a reason, though. I think skill-wise, he is the better fighter. But make no mistake about it, Guskov is very, very dangerous, especially on the feet, of course. I think Ankalaev, though, is just so well-rounded. He's so good everywhere. Typically fights really, really smart. There were some rumors about him potentially being injured in that last fight against Pereira, but I think we'll see Ankalaev perform extremely well here in this spot against Guskov. Wouldn't be surprised to see him initiate or look for some takedowns if there is a lot of pressure on the part of Guskov. But Guskov can get it done, man. He's got some serious power. He's very fast. He's athletic for the division. I think Ankalaev is a big favorite for a reason. So I have Ankalaev.
So I'm sure your fight camps were very calculated in terms of every day sort of leading up to it. But I'm curious for a guy like Guskov, right? To have this fight a week earlier than he was originally scheduled to compete. I bet a part of him, it's like, fucking great. Let's knock a week off the calendar, right? I mean, how do you think that's impacted? I know things sort of settle down toward the end of camp, but sort of having that fight come a week sooner, how do you think that may or may not impact sort of him getting ready?
Yeah, no, great question. I think every fighter, every camp, every coach kind of runs it differently, but I do think you want to be able to manage yourself to be able to peak at the right time. And a lot of times that means shutting down or extending your sparring based on when you're going to fight. And it also depends on what kind of bumps and bruises you have going into a fight, right? So sometimes you'll see guys tone it down a little bit. So managing that whole thing, how intense your strength and conditioning sessions are, you know, what kind of circuit training you're doing, all of those things get dialed in with way more precision as you get closer to that fight date. So yeah, in a lot of ways, I think it makes more sense to kind of, hey, you know, let's cut off a week out of the training. I don't have to worry about it as much. There's less pressure on me going against this big favorite in Ankalaev. I think that will serve Guskov well heading into this. But yeah, I think how they manage that is going to be important, and I'm sure they did that appropriately here against Ankalaev.
You know, for Ankalaev, right? Oftentimes when we talk about these fighters taking fights on short notice, it's also, you know, the fight is accepted by Ankalaev. And obviously, I think the betting line with Roundtree Jr. was a little bit closer, but a different challenge here for Ankalaev as well.
Yes, definitely.
All right, Kenny, we're going to have you put your money where your mouth is. We're going to get to place your bets. As you all know, who joined us last week, you were bullish on CLD. Put your whole $1,000 there, which netted you just over $307. So you are now plus $1,236.34 on the year. So if you're tailing Kenny, you're doing well. So got $1,000 to play with for UFC Fight Night. How are you attacking the board this week, sir?
You know, I'm going to keep it simple here yet again. I really see a lot of value on Tamirov here against Erceg. And yes, I know Erceg has more experience. He's a bigger name, but I think because of this, I see a huge opportunity for Tamirov, who I think really could do some serious things in that division. So I'm putting all 1,000 here on Ramazan Tamirov.
You know, I'll tell you what, when on some of the bets that you're bullish on, you know, when I have a feeling that those large wagers, if we looked at your bigger wagers, they come in more often than not. I need to find my way to Coconut Creek Sportsbook, tailing some of your stuff. All right, before we get out of here, we got to break open some cards. All right. So let's get to these Home of Fight repacks, and I actually get to do a couple today. So what if I told you a $60 investment could land you a $1,600 UFC card? That's what we're trying to do here. So we each break open two. And I'll get to some of the details. But Home of Fight repacks powered by collectibles.com. You secure your pack, and inside, we're going to open up an authentic graded UFC card. From there, you can either keep it secured to your online vault, ship it home to your collection, or move it instantly back to collectibles.com. Some of these cards that we send to our homes are going to be sent out to you fans. So if you love MMA, if you thrive on anticipation, if you appreciate the championship level stakes, this is your moment. Head to homeofightcards.com or download the Collectible app. Just as easy there, and get in on the action, because sometimes the biggest wins don't happen inside the octagon. So every week you guys each break open two cards. I believe you got your best card of the season last week, opened up an Alex Pereira card, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Was that last week? All right. So we're each going to open two. I know we don't have that special music anymore where it's like, wow. But anyway, all right, Flo, this is mine for John. And I assume because I'm here hosting the show, I would get this card. So let's see what we got.
Let's go. Wow. Let me just make that sound.
Okay.
What do we got?
2025 Topps Chrome UFC Kings and Queens Macy Barber PSA 8. What do they say in the value is there? Buyback $27. So not necessarily a great draw for me out of the gate, but I like Macy Barber very much. And so just so you all know, it's a $60 sort of purchase here, right? So they're buyback. So you're basically getting half of your money back. Nate Bronson thinks it's a cool looking card. I do as well, but I'm sort of in John's account here. I think we're going to have to sort of sell it back because I assume he would be doing that. Nate, I hope you don't disagree with my decision. It is a cool looking card. Cody says, what if we get it signed? Am I supposed to keep it? All right. You guys make the decision for me. Buyback. Buyback. So what do we do here? I get to open two of them and then we go to Ken Flo's account. Buy again. Look at all these XPR balances with you guys. But we do got to set something up where we're sending some of these cards out to fans.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
My second card is my man, Sweet Dreams Hill. Topps Chrome, UFC Chrome, veteran autographs, veteran auto gold, Jamal Hill, PSA 8. You know I'm keeping that with my guy Jamal Hill's signature right on it. He doesn't look anything like that physically right now, though. Have you seen the weight my boy Jamal Hill putting on to go up to heavyweight?
Dude, hanging out with Cormier too much or something.
Oh, but we're keeping that 100%. I'm going to have John ship that to me. But it really is interesting. We talk about Kamaru Usman and defending the belt 5 times. And Jamal Hill, former champ. There are a lot of guys that have become champion, but sometimes what you do with it is what measures sort of that true greatness. So hopefully Mal Hill can make a little run at heavyweight as we flip over to the account of Ken Flo.
Let's see what we got here. Give me some
We do got to get that music back on. There's something about, I know we can't do both, but here we go. The account of Kenneth Florian.
All right. Let's see.
I got some sound effects here. We got a little thing going here.
All right. There's
Special
the pack.
for Flo.
It's opening.
Wow.
Ronda Rousey PSA 9. What?
From 2013. I'm a little surprised the buyback only $44.69. What am I missing?
I know. I'm going to keep that one.
I think a fan
would love to have one of those. I might actually have Ronda sign it and keep it.
Yeah, MVP promotion. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Given that you're a broadcaster on her final fight or whatever it is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All
right. Let's see what else we got. Gonna keep that. All right.
Appreciate Matty Betts and everybody over at Home of Fight locking us in on these repacks. I tell you, these sport cards are just taking over the world, Flo. It's unbelievable.
They are.
Everybody's all into this stuff, like when I was a child.
What do we got? Adesanya PSA 10. What? Dude, these are great.
It's a nice looking card, Flo.
It is a nice card. I've never seen anything like. I'm going to keep that. I'm a big Izzy fan. Yeah.
My house. Purple.
Let's go.
All of
I've
that.
never seen that.
And I like the PSA 10s. Like right. I mean, who wants a card that's not in perfect condition? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So anyway, fun day today, Flo. I appreciate you letting me sort of keep the seat warm. A lot of traffic, but we handled it best we could.
Dude, you smashed it.
Hey, anything else you're chomping on before I get us out of here today?
I think that's it, brother. It was awesome. Awesome doing the show with you.
It flies by. Thank you to Ray Longo, RJ Clifford. We got Nate Bronson, Cody Merrow in the back. John will be back next week to help Ken Flo recap this weekend's fights, get you ready for that August 1st card in Serbia. John will be in the building in Serbia the first time the UFC touches down in Serbia. Main event, the Dr. Medic versus D-Rod. And if you're watching now and haven't yet subscribed to the Anik Florian Podcast channel, don't be afraid to hit that button. We certainly appreciate the support. And we encourage you to follow All the Smoke as well. All the Smoke Fight, all their content, absolutely riveting. And with that, for Kenny Florian, my name is Jason Anik. We'll see you all next Monday. Yo, fucking later.